Hi everybody, this is the baseball head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, and this is another visit to the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny fun.
Now welcome back to the baseball head 2, and of course, please subscribe to this channel and like this video. We love, I like, and I know you like that I make fun of criticize and critique WFAN on a regular basis. I haven't done much on this channel to criticize them, but they are really the bottom of the barrel in terms of a lot of stuff. Now, your host has been on their case for about 2 years when it comes to the New York Mets, because they make up all kinds of stories, and they pretend that it's not clickbait. They still go based on the shock jock model that Don Imus and Howard Stern perfected back in the late 70s, early 80s and 90s. And they still kind of do that at their radio station. It's kind of tempered a little bit of last year with the Mets, because the Mets have played so well. They've really shut them up. But they do pop up. They do irritate your host a lot. And I like to make fun of them. But of course, got under the skin of probably the worst offender, and that is Spaz Salicata. I call him Spaz because he spazzes out. He starts screaming, puts a paper bag over his head, which, by the way, is a good look for him, to be honest with you. You know, and just embarrasses himself. And he embarrassed himself 2 years ago going after the Mets, going after Pete Alonso, and just talking stupid shit. I mean, really just dumb. And this channel and my presence on YouTube has basically effectively challenged them on social media, because they do more work on YouTube to sort of push back on my criticism of them. Also, it mentioned several things as well, so you know. At one point, Spaz Salicata had blocked me because I was making fun of him so much, and I never interacted with him until that point. And then since then, and then he unblocked me, and then it's been bothering him. Just tagging him in different things from time to time. And of course, the hosts know about me. They mention certain little things. They make certain comments. I know that Tiki Barber doesn't really care for me. Doesn't like the fact that I do videos on my phone. I'm not a simp for the big media. I mean, Tiki Barber did like real news on Good Morning America, you know, and he doesn't like the fact that somebody brings up, especially someone with their phone, is bringing up things that bother him, and he wants to sweep it under the rug, how he was horrible to Eli Manning, the former great of the Giants football team. But anyway, I can go on and make fun of them. And, you know, they all have nicknames, they're all fun to sort of goof on. Did you know Richard Gere retired? I thought he retired like 20 years ago. He finally retired, that guy. The guy worked once a week, and he finally retired. I mean, goodness gracious. And he's helping keep Hernandez moving to South Carolina. Anyway. I hope he's not driving him to the airport. That was the joke online about Richard Gere, that he was driving Keith to the airport next. But anyway, let's get to the video. Awful announcing. Posted this. And I posted this clip. And this is a typical spaz out by Salicata. A headline: WFAN host caller get into it over New York media's role in athlete struggles. Now, I would mention, they screen the calls. WFAN screens the calls. This was a hit at me, because I've been sort of on their case about a lot of stuff, about the struggles of the players. And this has gone on for 30 years. Quote, you guys badge them all day long on the station, accept some of the responsibility. Don't come here that way. Now, a lot of people still are influenced by WFAN. Okay? Now, that's sort of gone away a little bit, because people are going onto social media, following these different podcasts and following my channel online. And they want more positive stuff. They don't want this sort of day-long, dried-out negativity. But they live off of the negativity. They feed off of it. But that's why so many people have sort of turned their back on sports radio. Radio's doing great. Talk radio's doing great. But sports talk radio's not doing great. ESPN lost their FM dial here in New York because their radio station struggled so mightily going against WFAN, and WFAN bought them. But here's the article that starts out. A WFAN radio call suggested on Thursday that the media plays a part in professional athletes underperforming in New York. And WFAN host Spaz Licata did not take kindly to the comments. No, of course not. He'd been attacking Pete Alonso for 2 years. WFAN caller Rich voiced his concerns the city's media scrutiny has a negative impact on young athletes. Like New York Yankees shortstop Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe's terrible, by the way. Now in year 3 of his MLB career, the 24-year-old is still having struggles at the plate after being a top 10 prospect in baseball entering 2023. And how he won a Gold Glove one year, that first year, is beyond me. Okay, let me read you, and I don't have to go and play the club. I don't play the clubs. This is Rich. These kids are all young. They come up here. They don't arrive here with that deer in the headlights look. They leave New York with that deer in the headlights look. And you guys have to take some responsibility. You guys badge them all day long on this radio station and Facebook and all social media outlets. And you don't think that these players read this? Accept some of the responsibility. They don't come here that way. They leave here that way. Where's Gleyber Torres this year? He's on the All-Star team. Why is that? Which, he makes a good point. And he goes, Rich. And that's my fault? Well, he don't care about the Gleyber Torres. Then Rich says, but you want to point fingers. You know whose fault it is. And then Licata, and this is the thing about Sal. Sal does not like, he doesn't like debate. He doesn't like to conversate with people. He just doesn't. He doesn't. You challenge him, he flips out. So he says, get lost, get lost, get lost. And then Rich says, no, you don't want to hear that. And he hung up on him. This is not the first time that Spaz Licata has hung up on somebody that he was talking to and had got into a debate and then got very heated. 2 years ago, he hung up on New York Giants legend Carl Banks because he challenged his negativity. Carl challenged his negativity and he couldn't handle it. He couldn't debate it. He couldn't explain the stupidity of being negative all the time. And he hung up on him. And Banks basically quit the show that he had. It was a weekly show. And that was it. And not only that, but the entire radio station came down on Carl Banks. To where the psychopath in the morning, Greg Giannotti, went after him and just went after him when he was appearing on the morning show. On the midday show. So it's like, so they knew what Spaz did was terrible. They doubled down on it. And not only that, but when Messias and Carl Banks out, it was really bad. So Licata says this, get lost, bye, thank you, get lost. Are you kidding? You're blaming the fans on social media and media members for questioning guys when they're not performing. Get lost. People say nasty things about us on social media. Crybaby voice. I didn't perform today because people were saying I should be fired and I suck. So I didn't have a good show. I need to go to another town to thrive. I just can't take it. Well, that sounds like a great plan, Spaz. Either ignore it or suck it up. It's not our fault that the players don't perform up to the level of expectation. Did we ruin Aaron Judge? Did we ruin Juan Soto or Francisco Lindor or Garrett Cole or CC Sabathia? I mean, how did the Yankees ever have a dynasty in the 90s with social media? Although social media wasn't around, how did the Yankees ever have a dynasty in the 90s with sports talk radio? Oh, his name. He's being so sarcastic, but he didn't want to debate the guy. He doesn't want to say how a comment that is completely ridiculous and a lie can be spread amongst fans. Fans go to the ballpark and they're going in there with a negative attitude from them when, say, Pete Alonso strikes out or Pete makes an error in the field or one of the other players that they have targeted. Brandon Nimmo got off to a sluggish start to his season. Okay? And his partner, Brandon Tierney, said he was washed up. He said he was washed up. Since that time, Brandon Nimmo has hit 3 grand slams. He's probably going to drive in 100 runs. He looks like he's going to hit 30 home runs. He doesn't look washed up to me. He does not look washed up to me. So they don't want to like admit that the things they say has meaning, that the things they say on social media and what they say on the radio, and I know a lot of my subscribers, a lot of the older subscribers, they still listen to the radio, okay, to get their sports news, okay, get their sports crap, you know, and a lot of times when they talk about certain things, they don't know what they're talking about. A lot of times they watch the games, you wonder what the hell they're watching. You know, and this is the pattern of Sal Licata of hanging up on people instead of having a conversation. It didn't seem like he was saying anything terrible. Okay, and we know the media influences the public in a very negative way. We know that. This is a radio station that was owned by CBS. Okay, so this is a radio station that they know how to push the envelope. They know how to like antagonize the public. He knows this. So instead of admitting that they do this stuff, and they do this stuff also to get people to listen to their program, get ratings, and make more money. But they act so indignant when you bring that up that they say, oh, you're just doing, and then when I do a video on this, oh, you're just doing this for clicks and stuff like that. It's a bunch of nonsense. Now I'm doing it. I'm not saying I'm not doing it. This is, first of all, I think this is funny. Me making fun of these people because nobody else does. I mean, you watch Sal Licata on SNY, they pat him on the head. You know, the people on that are very demeaning to him, and he deserves it. It's funny as hell when they say, "Oh, Sal Licata is the great Met fan," you know, and they make fun of him. They don't care, you know, because they're the TV media, you know, and they're on a higher level than the radio guy. But again, the media manipulates us. We know that, and they know that. He knows he manipulates his audience, just like Brandon Tierney by saying that Brandon Nimmo was washed up, and that Carlos Mendoza, there's something wrong with Carlos Mendoza because the Mets have lost like 4 or 5 in a row. It's insane stuff. But that is meant to antagonize you, to get me to respond. And I'm the only one that talks about it. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, this is another visit to the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha, to the funny part.